So on that note, let's talk about some viewer requests. So I'm going to look at some of the comments that you guys left, and I'm going to see what topics you guys wanted me to talk about this week. So it looks like I'm only doing one viewer request for this week. Be sure to comment below any requests for topics that you have that are general, and I will try to get to them if I haven't already spoken about them. But let's see. The question is from Indigo Awakener, and they just said, could you speak a little bit about Saturn returns? I would love to talk a little bit about Saturn returns because I just made a video about Saturn yesterday, which I hope you guys got to come to the live premiere. If you haven't seen the Saturn and astrology video yet, I will link that as well. Lots of links below. But yes, since I've done a Saturn video, I'll talk just a little bit about Saturn returns in this T-chat. So the Saturn return, I have one not too far away, but so I have not lived through one yet, but I've had many Saturn transits. The way that my chart is lined up has caused me to actually have about 9 years of Saturn conjunctions. In my chart, I have a lot of semi-sextiles, so it's over about the last 9 years, I've had like Saturn conjunctions, so I can definitely speak a lot on Saturn. As I've worked with a lot of clients who've also been going through Saturn returns, though, what I usually see is it depends on how much Saturn you've had transiting previously. If you've not had many hard angle Saturn transits, the Saturn return can be pretty devastating feeling. It can be hard. It can be, feeling unforgiving. It can feel limiting. It can feel contracting. If you've had a lot of Saturn energy, it can feel more empowering and it can feel more growth oriented, though there is always usually a sense of duty or a sense of purpose that needs to be locked in and followed through on. Otherwise, you can feel a bit overdone with Saturn return. So I think the one depending factor for a Saturn return is what your main goals are right now. Are you goal oriented? Are you working with purpose? Are you spending a lot of your time, money, energy on things that don't have any regard to your purpose? Basically, any strong Saturn transit, especially the Saturn return, is a coming of age story. And it's about what am I here to do on Earth? What are my values? What are my overarching plans and features? And if there's not much ability to prioritize those things, or if there's like a refusal to orient yourself to those things, that's when a Saturn transit or Saturn return becomes really difficult. Any threat to derail or any threat to, postpone goals and purposes causes a Saturn transit to be really hard, okay? So when we experience limitation or when we experience pain or lack or scarcity or any of those things associated with Saturn, it's because we are not really in the right territory or because we're not on the right path, really. And it's trying to reorient us through signs and through feelings that we need to reorient our path. So as we experience pain or lack or scarcity, that is just a sign that we need to change direction a little bit. So in that way, if you're feeling those things, it's just a sign to maybe have that dialogue with yourself, like, okay, what am I really after? What is my soul purpose? What is my life purpose? And sometimes those things can also be hard to figure out during a Saturn transit because it's not really a lofty philosophical energy so much. But that's why I say, like, when you're having like a Jupiter return or when you're working with Jupiter, that's a great time to figure out the life goal and then go into that implementation phase and coast, kind of like we've been doing this year in 2020, where it's not also been a great year to, make a huge change because it's so Saturnian, having all this Capricorn energy. Saturn rules Capricorn. So 2020 is kind of like a Saturn return for everybody. So think of the year 2020 with all the pandemics and with all the quarantines and all the controls and all the political unrest. All of this is like very Saturnian. And so, especially for those of you going through a Saturn return right now or having a strong Saturn transit, you can see what it's like through your experience this year. But again, Saturn is not the enemy. Saturn is not here just to bring pain and suffering to people. That's not what the energy is at all. It's just unwavering and it's solid, and it doesn't really take flexible interpretations of what things could be. It's like, okay, I've always wanted to have this business Saturn's not going to flexibly interpret you going on a vacation to brainstorm about the business as contributing to the business. It's going to want you to go and like file those papers or something, you know? So a vacation, for example, during a Saturn return is not a good idea because vacations can go wrong during a Saturn transit. Anything that's like a relaxation or something, I mean, if it's a well-deserved vacation, like you've been working all year, you've made a lot of money, you're dealing with purpose, that 1 week vacation is fine during a Saturn return. But any mentality like, okay, I'm just going to pull back, I'm going to rest it off, not so great for Saturn energy, unless it's coming from the point of view like, okay, I'm going to accept this limitation. I know what my body can't do. I know that working this 12-hour shift is not feasible for my body. I'm going to rest instead. It all depends on how you're coming at it within your mind. What I will say with Saturn returns is it's not a very rest-oriented energy. There's usually hard work to be done. There's a tough schedule to get through. There is something that is draining or sapping that you have to do, especially if it's in a water sign or a water house. Emotionally draining work, usually with Saturn. Also feeling underpaid or feeling frugal. It really helps you to understand the value of time, money, and energy, any Saturn transit. And also the finite nature of life. Okay, so it teaches us what we need to put our life force toward. The Saturn return is about knowing that life force is not permanent. We don't live forever. What we attribute our time and energy to is vital to understand, to organize, and to not do in a sloppy way. So healing sloppiness, getting out of messiness, getting out of lack of organization, getting out of a funk about what I'm doing with my life is what a Saturn return is for. And through that, it's like coming of age, it's coming to, life purpose and all of that. So as long as that line between fixing things and coming to life purpose connects with a common thread, Saturn return is easy. What's hard about Saturn return is when we can't connect the dot between, okay, I'm in a funk and my life purpose. I don't know what my life purpose is. I don't know why I'm in this funk. That's when chaos happens with the Saturn return. So really great conversation though. And ultimately Saturn return is going to give you more power. Always, it's going to give you more freedom. It's going to give you more resources in some way or another. So it is like the energy of an inheritance or a promotion or a bonus or a new business or something that gives you more value somehow. Okay, having a child also, getting value through the connection to like a child or like having children. We see with Saturn returns a lot, especially the first one. And then the second Saturn return is more so about going out of that phase and into older age, so it's very clear our chapters of age with Saturn. So anyway, everyone, that's going to sum it up. I hope you've enjoyed this tea chat. I've talked a little bit about the week ahead and also Saturn returns. Again, a huge welcome to those of you who are new. And I will be posting benevolence at the end of the month for those of you who'd like to upgrade to the benevolence.